Well, Arturia have gone and done it again. They've given us a nice early Christmas present with an update to the MiniFreak and the MiniFreak V software to version 2. And this has got 3 nice sort of juicy additions, plus lots of other little bits and bobs. So we've got a new Superunison effect on the effects. We've got a new Wavetable Oscillator, and the LFO Shaper can now go much faster because the rate can be for the whole of the LFO shape. And the other little additions are we've got a favorites panel. We can now assign macros to modulation amounts, which makes it a lot more expressive. And we've got oscillator free run on the noise engineering oscillator. Well, let's kick off with this Superunison. So I've just got a simple sawtooth. Had a bit of release. So sounds don't get much simpler than that. And then we go and we add a little bit of this new Superunison. So it's a bit like a widening chorus on steroids, isn't it? If we go to, let's just go to the normal chorus. And then come back to the Superunison, you can hear straight away it's wider. The intensity is a filter. And the amount's the amount, obviously. But nice, big, thick, rich tones from that. Let's add in some reverb and some delay. And we've got a few types in here. That's the standard, classic. We've got one called Ravey. Feels a bit brighter. Let's drop that release. Turn that delay off for a second. In fact, let's make that a unison tone. Sounds pretty ravey, doesn't it? And then the next one, we've got Solly. So let's go back to Poly for this one. It's a bit subtler maybe, a little bit mellower. And there's more. There's slow trigger, wide trigger, mono and wavy. I'll just play one of these. I'll go through them all, but you get the idea. Nice, big, fat and rich. You can hear that sort of resonance in there. Let's take the resonance off the filter. Yep, so there's Superunison, and quite super it is too. So next up we've got the Wavetable Oscillator. Let's just check what I've got in here. Oscillator 2's down, Oscillator 1, basic waves. Let's go to the type. Right at the end we've got Wavetable. And this is probably easiest to show on the app, just because you can see what's going on. So different wavetables. On the synth, to go through the different wavetables, we press Shift and Type. We can see there, I think there's 32 different wavetables in there. But it's easiest to see on the app, isn't it? And these are nice wavetables. And of course, we can modulate through the wavetables. Try another. And if you're not that familiar with wavetables, why they're so good is that you can modulate through the wavetable and get all sorts of different changes in tone, all related to each other. And it's how you can get really complex sounding waves. And it's how you can get those really nasty sounding basses as well. He's going to try it now with a wave that doesn't sound nasty, but let's FM filter woo. Well, pretty nasty-ish. Get the idea. We can also change the pulse width on all of these as well, which is rather cool. You're listening to the app, by the way, just thought I'd make that clear, because, yeah, this isn't plugged in. Again, playing with the width. And then we've got tone. It's like a high-pass filter, low-pass filter. Let's find one that's a bit sort of more harmonic. There we go. So go even lower. So you can modulate through that. You can play with the width. And because you've taken off the low end, you can add low with Oscillator 2 maybe. Let's add some sort of sub to that. Let's tune that down an octave. Let's turn it up so we can hear it. Wasn't what I had in mind. Let's go to Oscillator 2 and just... There we go, it's more like it. A nice subby bass. Anyway, things to play around with. You can see I'm getting a little bit carried away. The best way to show these off, though, is probably using the new presets. I think there's 60 of them. That's a definite wavetable sound, isn't it? Have a little play with it. That's rather beautiful, isn't it? Let's take a look at this wave shaper then, shall we? Let's just load an initial patch. Put LFO 1 onto the wave shaper. There's nothing in there at the minute. Let's edit it. Put it all flat. Don't know, let's... Oops. Do something like this. Make a little sign type thing. Just something really simple just to show you this quickly. And let's modulate the oscillator pitch with LFO 1. So, just something really simple. Turn the rate up. And let's just double check what we've got on here, shall we? LFO Shaper rate. Shaper 1 rate is only 1 step. Let's put it onto all steps. And we've got FM. Cool. So the rate's now not looking at the individual steps, but everything as a whole. So if you turn the rate down, or if we go back in, then change that to Shaper 1 rate 1 step. Load slower. That's the fastest it will go before. And now, let's add that Superunison, because we've got it there. Going into weird modular FM territory in about 3 moves, aren't we? So if I want to save that as a favorite, shift and save, go to the favorites panel. So I've got 16 times 4 spaces. So if we go to there, preset 305 is added to the favorites. That's been saved in the favorites, bank 1, position 1. If I just load something else in, go back to the favorites panel, shift and save. Oops. Back in the favorites panel, 16.1. Cool. Let's save another favorite, shall we? Okay, let's save that. Save to 2. Added there. So, favorites panel. So quick access. Very useful for gigs. I really like that, it's really handy. So yeah, just to reiterate, you press shift and save and you're in the favorites panel. So when you're doing a gig, I suppose, you'd have it in shift and save and you can easily access all the patches you need. Okay, finally, well I think this is finally, we can assign anything in the modulation matrix to the macros now. So we go into the macros and edit, we can now use this matrix encoder to go to one of the controllers and adjust that with the macro. So what have we got on this sound here? It's actually easier to see on the software here. So we've got macro 1 is modulating 2.5, which is 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oscillator 2 wave. So if we turn that down, it's not doing much, turn it up. Yeah, there we go. And that's just a nice little extra layer of modulation there for extra expressive bits and bobs. So cool, I think that about covers it. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. I'm really pleased that I love the way Arturia keep on knocking out these little additions to the synths. I think it really shows that they care about the customers and they want to improve the products all the time. So if you did enjoy that, please think about subscribing, ring the bell, join me over on Patreon and all the rest of that stuff. Costs less than a cafe latte per month. And maybe take a look at my starskycar.com website as well, where I've got patches, I've got samples, stuff to download, and loads of free bits and bobs there as well. But thank you for staying to the very end, and I will see you next time.